Everyone, hey, how's it going? Welcome back to, extra special episode of Milanistas 360. We kind of planned it last night. Hosni hasn't shown up because he probably doesn't realize it's on. So thanks very much, Hosni. Sorry about the very prompt nature of the pod. So we have a lot of stuff to go through. Mainly why I'm losing faith in humanity about this fucking tin pot club. That's what we'll cover that later. And again, apologies about the delay. There was a lot of important RL stuff going on. So anyway, I guess, okay, let's go around. So alphabetical order, I guess. Okay, let's go Lab. Okay, Lab Gorilla, how have you been, man?
It's been a busy time in the household of the Gorillas. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, big changes afoot coming up. About to change a career over 20 years, so it's a big deal for us. And I'll be honest and say that, the end of the season, the things that happened afterwards, the press conferences, of course, Pioli firing was fine for me. I was always up for that. But everything that's happened thereafter has been a complete waste of time, in my humble opinion. And we now have our first signing, and we're about to be into August, 2 weeks from the start of the season. We have one signing, and we have a bunch of players in that squad that have come back from their loans. We have no idea. There's so much talk about a futures project, and it's not been a great time for me in terms of hope for the club. I think I've seen enough from ownership to make me think that I think I've got them figured out. But I've got to say, Nico, well done on really holding down the fort and continuing to managing to get the energy to talk about the club, because it takes some effort. And I've got to be honest, guys. I've unsubscribed for a bunch of Milan podcasts because there was just speculation all the time, and it never came through. So I was just showing these guys before the podcast started that Radio Rossonera for a whole month were releasing almost identical images of Xerxes and saying he's here, almost here, he's going to be here tomorrow. Oh, his agent talking to us. We're assessing him. I think we're the greatest assessing club in the entire world. I don't know what else we do except for assess. I think we've assessed everyone's asses, but I don't know. Sorry, I don't know where we're going to go with all these assessments. Maybe take an exam on players that we're not going to sign. But yeah, then the Euro started. As an Italian, my God, I was appalled at some of the players that were selected for that. I was really, really disappointed. I thought, I don't understand how half the people were brought to the squad to play for Italy. Di Lorenzo has got no business being anywhere near, and Fagioli, the bookmaker, shouldn't be anywhere near that squad either. You've just been served a suspension. What are you doing being called up? I was like, wow, what a shit show. What a shit show this summer has been. But to temper all of that, and I guess we'll talk about it later, the game last night. But Nico, please, I've had my rant. Go.
I just wanted to say, fellas, it's good to be back with you guys on the OG show. It's been a while to see your gorgeous faces. Families are in the Caribbean and Mexico now. So it's, weather's perfect. Can't complain. Work's good. Obviously, as John said, I've been busy with a spin-off show on Milanistas 360 talking about defensive stuff. Hasn't been easy. at all sometimes. And John, to your point with the other podcasts, and I don't want to burn them, but a lot of them tend to just speculate. They don't give an opinion. They're just putting out the same stuff everybody else is doing. And it got kind of tiring after a while as well. And to your point as well, in terms of the with the Euros didn't go great, obviously, but I got to give it to the kids, the U19 kids at the Euros played well, by the way, even though they lost to Spain. I mean, if you saw those games, they actually have talent. You could see it on the field, on the pitch. Those kids could walk, could play.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree completely on that. The youth is the key to everything here. In my opinion, it's the key to every single issue that's at the club at the moment. It could all be resolved with the youth. And that's the conclusion I've come to, and why last night brought a smile to my face, because I saw something that I never thought I'd be seeing again, because I thought all those guys would be chucked, which they might still be, by the way. I've heard rumors this morning, about Nasty and a lot of the other players that we're looking at shifting them. But anyway,
you know why Nasty was played, right? By the way,
why?
Fellas.
Tell me.
So according to Rosanera TV, so there's a kid named Antonio on that show that's on it pretty regularly. He's from the United States, I think in New Jersey. So he attended the game yesterday. And according to him, and I don't think why he would lie. So he was there and he was watching the warm-ups and he noticed Jovic had no stamina. He was like breathing hard. He looked out of shape. It's like, dude, what the hell, man? Like you're ready. You're 3 weeks out of the regular season and you're out of shape still. Like what have you been doing all summer? And then during the game, when Fonseca was making his substitutions in the second half, I think it was. Yeah, I didn't watch the second half. He called Jovic's name, like Jovic, start warming up, and he was half-assing it, warming up. So he called up Nasty. He's like, you know what? Just sit down. You're done. And he called up Nasty. He's like, Nasty, you're up. And Nasty he got up. He was excited to get on. He did his warm up like a real professional footballer, and he put him on the pitch instead.
But it does make sense, because keep in mind, Jovic was free. He was free for a reason. You don't get players that give a shit about their career for free, for the most part.
And it makes you wonder, if he's like that, he probably knows that he's either not motivated or he knows that he's on his way out. I don't know, one or the other.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. But I think it would be nice having him as a third backup, considering that if we got someone in, but because he's relatively consistent. I mean, for the amount of minutes that he gets, right? I mean, he's not bad, but I don't know. Everything that you've said there, it just makes a lot of sense. Because keep in mind, I mean, he hasn't done anything important in his career since he left. Who was it? Frankfurt that time? Was it Frankfurt he was with in Germany, and then he had that great 2 seasons or so, and then he went to Real, and then just fell away.
What has he done since?
Yeah, that was it.
What did he do at the Euros? Nothing. He was invisible.
Yep.
Did he even play? Yeah, I don't even remember. When people there's a certain percentage of the fan base that hype him so much. Think
it was Frankfurt, yeah,
the superior striker or something.
That's the cope levels, though.
It's like all right, slow down. What is he showing? All right, and one other question is, we're like John had stated, the season starts August 17th. That's the first game, fellas. That's about 3 weeks away, right? Even if we get a new signing, I doubt it. I've said it multiple times over the summer. I don't see us getting any new signings. It's a whole bunch of hype. It's a bunch of BS fed from the club to get people excited. All right, it's a bunch of noise. So hey, we're keeping busy, but oh, we didn't. Oh, the price got increased. We couldn't figure out a plan. Oh, the club increased the price, the transfer fees, the commission fees. You know, keep going on with these excuses, and we're going to be stuck with Jovic at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a scary thought because just to cover it as well, man, right? Because this is super important as well. Like we're reaching new levels of cope as a fan base. I mean, can you imagine? So we were, like you'd said, John Xerxes was, that was a done deal apparently. Uh, you know, and next thing then we've so far wound up with Morata, um, and Morata may work out. Obviously, I only wish him the best of luck, and I hope he really stars for us. But the cope levels though from the fan base, because can you imagine if something as embarrassing as losing out in Xerxes happened to Inter? Our fans would literally be all over it. It is like, oh, it's pathetic. They're broke. They can't afford anything. And it's like, keep in mind as well, Inter, didn't they sign up? Was it, I think, Barella? They signed him up to a new contract, a new lucrative contract.
Yes,
This is
yes, they did. Yeah,
like,
And
so,
Lautaro as well.
and Lautaro. So, I mean, if you want to look at owners, right, and if you want to look at the trajectory that your club is taking, I don't know where all the Forza balance sheets guys that were delighted because we're being financially prudent and it's only a matter of time before the wheels fall off at Inter. That hasn't happened. In fact, it's the opposite. In fact, they're still the strongest club in Italy by, what is it, 19 points. That was the end. Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, like the writing is literally on the wall here, right? And to just go back to maybe why the absence was on my part, right? Because it's literally so hard to give a fuck about this club at the moment. Because when you're getting consistently lied to and bullshitted to and fed bullshit and expected to, swallow and enjoy the taste. I mean, why the fuck, come on, guys. Like, this is fucking horrific what's happening right now. Like, and you, like, I know there's a lot of channels out there and it's, probably struggling for content, right? And I get that because they're trying to hype up potential rumors and potential transfers and all this stuff. But, like, come on, guys. Like, there's literally so little scope for us to complete a decent transfer because literally all the likes of Man United have to do is, we know Milan have a good scouting system, right, for the most part. Okay. So if they're going after this player, let's just go for that player. Let's offer him more money. We can afford his exorbitant fucking, agent bonuses. Why the fuck do we need to scout anyone? There's no point in someone like Man United or Man City having a scouting department. Just wait for a team has good scouting department to just go after that player and outbid them. I mean, this is fucking tragic what's happening. Like, we're not going to end up with anyone of quality, of fucking serious quality. We have Calabria, which, by the way, this isn't digging at Calabria as much as I fucking want to. Apparently there was a bid coming in from Strasbourg, right, which were 13th in the French league, right, last season. There was an offer coming in, right? So if you want to know about the qualities of Calabria, right, a 13th place team in a farmers league, that's all you need to know. Fuck, man. I'm so disappointed with the trajectory of this club, honestly. And the thing is we knew it was coming. We literally knew it was coming, right? So it's like, it's not that it's a surprise, but it is so fucking disenfranchising. Like, it is like, fuck Cardinale, honestly.
So I mean, picking up on that, we've had a very interesting off season, not obviously on the pitch, but I'm talking about on the front of management and how they're displaying themselves and the things they're saying. So Ibrahimovic is clearly now the spokesman for Redbird, and so we had this comical a stage where he sat on a stool and spoke for an hour. Now, I'll say to you guys, some people have described that so-called conference as real impressive demonstrations of Ibra's capability, the way he spoke in different languages. I've got a different view. And I will tell you the view of the Italian press that I was also checking up on, and perhaps some of it I can have a look, because what I did is, I looked at the conference live and I thought, okay, he's not answering anything in truth. All he's saying, he really went on stage for an hour to talk crap and say that Fonseca was the manager coming in. That was the day that he basically said, I'm going to confirm that Fonseca's coming in. But I mean, the comments underneath, they're actually the ones that you want to see. It says here, if you use a fork in a soup, you can't do anything. See, these are the kind of the Italian sayings that we have, right? So others saying, we fired Maldini in favor of Ibra. It's like choosing Fonseca instead of Conte, right? Then some are saying, it's agony listening to this conference. Another one is, Ibra, I'm sorry, but what do you actually do? Sorry, I'm reading these, and Ibra, you're a phenomenon. You spoke for an hour and you said nothing. This is the realistic kind of way that that interview went and was perceived in Italy. The journalists were actually, in a way, laughing, not with him. Yeah. His answers, when he could not give you a straight answer, he was just basically going to his, proud peacock stage and would say something mildly aggressive back to stop them from continuing to talk. He never actually got to any point. He was asked some very important questions about why no Italians, what's happening with the youth. And his answer, I mean, I'll give you the answer for the youth. His answer for the youth was, thank you for that question. This is why we brought in Fonseca. He is going to be crucial because he is going to utilize the youth. However, the youth are not ready to play, which is why we're going to have the Milan Future model. Well, what does any of that actually mean exactly? Fonseca is going to integrate players. If he integrates players, and this is what I think a lot of the fan base can get, all of us can come back together again. If youth is truly integrated, because we do have a wonderful, wonderful youth squad with so many talented players who have shown themselves at international levels, then we can all get behind AC Milan. And I think we will all be happy to buy a shirt that says Liberali on the back, Nasti on the back, Camarda on the back. We would all be up for it. However, if you say to me, and Ibra said this, physically, they are not ready. If you go up against an adult defender, you will be bouncing off, So we have to be very careful with these kids. What did we learn from the Euros? What did we see in the Euros? Every team that had any ambition injected and took a risk with youth to blood them, to give them that experience. I fully understand that Camarda looks, although he's got the height, he looks like he needs to fill out a bit. But that is something that will come with time. Give him that experience because his goal scoring record is there. If you're good enough, you're good enough. I don't care how old you are. And that's why I wanted to take the subject now to the game last night. So I have been, despite leaving a lot of the Milan media, I have been reading newspapers still, and I kept hearing that Fonseca was going to start to do double training days. So he would really, really take the team and accelerate them into the style of football that he wants, because he said that he wanted a very, very different style to what Pioli was doing. He wanted to press, keep the players all basically in the last 30 yards of the pitch, really pressing the opposition, and he wanted to base his football a lot more on passing game. And I was very curious, because one thing we've not seen over the last year is a Milan squad that can hold the ball properly and do 1-2 passing with knowledge, without fear. And what I saw last night was the first indication for me that something is different. I saw 1-2 flicks, 1-2 passing, very rapid acceleration of and acceleration of plays, and everybody flooding forward together. That was something very different. And I've got to give credit where it is due. In my mind, with that style of football, Salamakers is not afraid of having the ball because he has that close control. On the bad side, nothing has changed in defense. The moment anyone comes at us, we are the floodgates open. So there's a problem there that has not been fixed, and it was really obvious last night, and it was really obvious in that game against Rapid Vienna, if that's what they're called, that finished 1-1. They had lots of
John. So you make a lot of good points. We did see a lot of different on the offensive side. We were seeing those passes. Yeah, we're seeing a style of play that Fonseca is initiating with the team. Right, he's getting them to play. But let's put some into context. Those kids that we played yesterday, the Man City kids, besides Holland and Grealish, were all Primavera players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as impressive as, I mean, yeah, great, they were able to do that, but they were playing against a bunch of kids. And our club, our starting 11, what besides the goalkeeper, right, we're almost senior players on the first team, right? That's like almost a lineup you would see when we're playing like a lower level club, right? We're rotating players in. So that's the first point. Second, yeah, defensively, where was this high press? All this talk about he's going to press higher up the pitch. I didn't see that. And getting one last thing I forgot to mention is that style play that Fonseca likes to play, right? He likes to bait the teams to press, right? So how many times did he pass it back to the goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, which is great. Listen, that's what De Zerbi does. That's what a lot of other teams do to initiate the press, to set up a trap, to trap you they're inviting the press so they could try to free up time and space, right? But let's be honest, against a good team in Serie A, with the coaches that we have, they're set up really good tactically. Is that really going to work? If we have the same players next year, if we're not upgrading our midfielders, we're going to have the same midfield as last year. If we're starting Benny and Tijani and Musa coming off the bench and Adley off the bench, do you think those players are capable of playing that style of play against a good team?
It's hard
And
to
keep
say.
in mind as well, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, look, it was really nice to see it.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Like,
it was. Long term, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think what makes it extra flattering though is, did you notice the size of the pitch?
It looked tight. It looked narrow.
I think you could have 6 sides on that pitch. Like,
yeah, that's what they get for playing at a baseball stadium.
Yeah,
because the pitch wasn't huge. Like, so I just think that the fact that the pitch was as small as it is made it seem more impressive than, and it's like you said, Nico, if they can reproduce that, right, on, a normal sized adult pitch, right, in Serie A, right,
and against a good squad too.
And against a good squad. Because honestly, right, what I'm very afraid of here, right, and I can see it happening. I can see, maybe with some magic, right, I can see Juventus, I can see Napoli, right, and I can see Inter all finishing above us this year.
Okay, like Shane, my okay, guys. I'll be positive. I'm gonna be the positive one today. All right.
Please do, John. We are being positive.
Yeah,
we're being realistic, John.
I'll be
take that much how you want.
I'll be super positive today. I'll say this: I have not seen us play football in transition like that since Pioli came in. Like, actually, last season, not once did I see this style of football. Okay, I agree. The opposition was weak because they were also not. De Bruyne wasn't on the pitch. There was a lot of. Walker wasn't there. There was a lot of youth players on their side too. That's that's the way the cookie crumbles in preseason friendlies. You know, everybody's playing these slightly weakened teams. Now, I'd say the players that were on the pitch look like they have been drilled, and they look like they knew what they were doing, right? Now, the fact that I saw Nasti, Liberali, and Bacone come on brought a smile to my face and gave me a lot of, a pleasure, because I know again that this would not have happened under Pioli. So this is a difference, okay? At least in this friendly. Now, I know everybody will be like jumping down my throat and saying, no, John, we're going to be, once the seniors come in, these guys will never see the pitch again. At that point, I will absolutely let him have it. But last night, for what I saw and what they did well. Okay. Now, my assessment pre-game, when I saw the lineup, I was thinking that a lot of that lineup will probably not be at AC Milan by the 30th of August. Okay. I think the club is trying to actively shift a lot of them. The rumor is Maldini will be moving to Monza, for example, on a permanent deal. The Maldini name will actually leave the club. The rumor is that Nasti and Liberali are being looked at as potential to be sold. We know openly, we can say it, Anderlecht have taken Simic. Simic wanted to show ambition and he wanted guaranteed time in the first team, and they were not prepared to give that to him. You ask me, personally, I would have said Simic instead of Chow any day of the week. Yeah, give the kid a chance because the fan base can get behind you. So I will say I will give you all of that. But for last night, for what I saw, for what they did, I was super, super happy. And of course, we've got more players from the youth team that could come in as well. So is the football different? It looks like he is trying to do something different. It looks like there's some kind of pattern to what he's doing. And if he can instill that into whoever comes in, then I'll be glad. Now, so that's the biggest benefit of all. Pioli's football, or whatever that was that we spent the last year suffering, we won't see. Unfortunately, on the defensive side, I mean, it's really obvious, guys. People keep talking. Let's say the name that everyone's talking about. Keep talking about Fofana. Keep talking about Pavlovic. They're talking about these guys because there's clearly a problem, right? And it has to be addressed. And to your point, Shane, Man United can sit there, say, oh, look, Milan are looking at Fofana. Here we go. Here's the full asking price, and walk off with him.
That's what they've done
what they
too.
did with Xerxes.
That's what they're doing what they're doing with Fofana. Fofana's price has increased.
Well, this is what his agent wants too, right? Right?
No, because
they know
that. Yeah, because we came in with a low offer of 15 mil or 12 million or whatever the hell it was, and they said, "Hold on, let's wait for the big teams to come in." And they said, "Oh, Man U's interested in Fofana because they need a CDM as well. Oh, we're going to be asking for 30 mil now."
Yeah.
So that's why we pivoted. There's a kid now that we're looking at, another French CDM. He's a younger version of Fofana. His name is Kone. He plays in
yeah. I've just read about him this morning.
He's a good player. I talked to him about it yesterday. He would be a good fit. But again, I don't see us. I think the same thing's going to happen. We're going to come in with a $10 million offer or 8, whatever the hell it is, and some other teams are going to snatch him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree with you guys on the market strategy being broken. So Furlani's very happy for that Morata signing, and I can understand why he's saying that, because it's actually a very low price for a player whose numbers are kind of similar to Giroud. If you look at the clubs he's been at, the number of goals he scored, his goals per game ratio, the guy knows Serie A. The guy seems to score an okay number of goals. So he's a kind of a middle of the road striker that has been in some very great teams. He's a European champion. In name, if I was to say to you which one of that squad is probably the weakest player, you probably would say Morata because he's very superfluous for the style of football that Spain need. So I can see where Furlani would say that's a great deal. That's a proper Moneyball signing. Yeah, you've got a younger version of what, 5 years, 6 years younger than Giroud, and so we are set. We're going to give him what was it, 4-year contract, something like that, some quite long, lengthy contract that he's been given. I get it, but is he the player that we think is going to make us do that leap to the top of the league? No, nowhere near. That leap was when people were talking about Xerxes and Lukaku at the same time. When people were talking about an out-and-out striker and someone who can link up with him and devastate opponents, then we were talking about potentially making that leap. As it is, so I've spent, guys, I've spent the summer being relatively quiet. Nico, I've been texting you about football and a little bit with Kim, a little bit with Fabio and stuff. And, I've been keeping up with the actual newspapers. So tell me if any of these assumptions are wrong. Because I thought, you know what, I'm going to write these down and I'm going to say, what do you guys think of this, right? So Milan today is a club being run sustainably. It has to pay for itself, as these owners are not here for a passion project. You cannot disagree with that, can you, Shane and Nico? Right? That's statement number one. And I can't think any Milan fan can disagree with that. Milan are using a financial model which ultimately has to result in income at the end of every year. This is their measure of success. True or not? Their measure of success, a current ownership, as Furlani said it, the first time in forever that Milan has had 2 years in profit. Okay? So your options are limited. Option one is accept that this is Milan in 2024. Enjoy wins every now and then, but keep expectations low. Success comes in the form of top 4 in Serie A and a decent Champions League campaign. And then I thought to myself, what would you consider a decent Champions League campaign now that we're in a league format? Remember, it's changed. Maybe to make it into a knockout phase. That's it. Option 2, give up on the project entirely. And I'm not joking, Shane. When you said, I can't be effed with this club. So option 2 is give up on the project entirely until such time that Milan is sold to owners who are passionate about winning on the pitch. Because that's the two differences that we are faced with today. Which one do you take? If Monza take Daniele Maldini, if Monza bring in Paolo Maldini within their ownership management structure, is it an option with the attachment of Galliani and knowing that they're passionate about their football? Is it an option to think, I'm going to pause on Milan and I'm going to look for a second club? I wanted to hear that from you.
Just a quick one. So I just want to cover Zion's comment. No, Zion, I completely agree with you here. Man United it's a fucking horrifically ran club that overpays for overhyped and overrated players. But the thing is we're a poorly ran club that will pay fuck all for quality players and for decent quality players. So I think that, the net result is the same. It's just we're using the excuse that we're being financially prudent while we basically, squeeze all of the money we can out of fans to, pay for third and fourth jerseys.
So Shane, Zion sent another message. He says, I disagree. Milan's success on the field will affect their success and profits and sustainability as well. So if we don't win trophies, then it'll be a failed project. Okay, Zion, I think we actually completely agree on this. If you want to judge Milan, and if you want to combine and match financial sustainability with winning trophies, then please judge Milan that way. And remember this message that you wrote today, because my personal belief is that winning trophies is not on the agenda of this ownership. That's correct. My personal belief. The movements that have been done and the statements that have been said do not match with a club that is trying to win trophies. This is not a squad with Fonseca in charge, with the current with the current playing squad that can even bridge that gap to Inter Milan. It cannot do that. There's nothing that we're seeing that will bridge that gap. So trophies, what do you want to call as a trophy? I'm not calling the Berlusconi trophy as a actual trophy, all right? I'm not counting that. I am counting, I don't know, Serie A as a serious trophy, Coppa d'Italia maybe, but that's, can we win either? I don't believe we can. That's my personal belief. From everything I've seen over the last 2 years.
So, but this is the thing as well. Like, and I know where Zan is coming from. Look, it will affect our success and profits, and sustainability as well, right? But the thing is we have a blueprint for what Redbird are doing, right? And it's called Arsenal.
Oh, hold on. Arsenal is trying to win too. Arsenal's got a better squad. Let's be real.
Okay, but
they have a better team. They picked up Calafiori. They have a good defense. They have a better manager.
No. So hold on. So what I'm saying is, I'm agreeing with Zions with the comment on it, right? But if we compare ourselves to Arsenal, right? Because look, think about it. Functionally, there was early days of the project when they were trying to build their new stadium, and then they had to have a load of money allotted aside and stuff. But the thing is that those fans had to go through a decade of pain, basically, where they weren't really doing much. And the thing is I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't watch the EPL so much. But I don't think that the owners blatantly bullshitted to their fan base like ours are.
Okay. So that's a great point, Shane. Which is, it's a great point, Shane. When Gazidis was there at Arsenal, everybody knew that they were trying to balance the books, have their new stadium, and get everything financially really, really solid before being able to expand. And now they're at that phase where they can actually really be ambitious, and they're going after very interesting targets, and they're getting close every season, much closer every season. So I get your point, Shane, 100%. And the point here is, and I think Zion, please remember what you've written here, because if this is what you believe, which is that if we don't win trophies, it will be a failed project, don't forget today. Okay, because that is where I think I cannot see it. I genuinely cannot see Milan winning Serie A, even if we sign Fofana and Pavlovic. All right, guys, let's sign Fofana and Pavlovic. We will not win Serie A, in my opinion. We will potentially, looking at the style of football, we might make top 4, but we can't win Serie A like this. I understand this thing about Milan are doing it the smart way because we don't have the financial power to be able to go and just pay in one go. But that's a choice. We have supposedly quite a large transfer budget, but the ultimate objective here is financial sustainability. It's nothing else. It is financial sustainability above everything else. So when that comes above everything else, you cannot win trophies in Serie A. It just cannot happen.
They're two completely separate arguments. No one can do it. It's just, you can't do it. You can't be sustainable, and you can't win. You can't. No one has done it. Give me an example of someone who's done it, right? And who's been consistent at doing it.
I would say the best run club probably that has had success recently is Atalanta in what they did in the Europa League, right?
But this is the thing, though, John. We should have another level. Like the thing, fuck. Like, sorry,
gentlemen. So back to Forlani during his last interview, I think it was with Bloomberg TV in the United States. He came out and he said it, that they want to emulate what Real Madrid is doing financially. Financially, and also winning trophies.
So does every other club in the world.
Hold on. So this is where more of the lies begin. They just continue. you're putting yourself in the same conversation Real Madrid. You're trying to copy what they've done in the last 8-9 years, where they're getting the best players available in the world.
They're literally the greatest club in the world, though.
We were there. Hold on, we were there for a while, way back when. We were tied with them, right? We were head to head, and at some point, we just, with everything that went down with Berlusconi and the club, we lost track. They got ahead of us, right? But for Christ's sake, to sit there and on TV and tell your fans that you want to be like Real Madrid, so
I didn't realize he said this.
That's a bunch, and I'll say it again, like I said, malakias. Like this is for Forlani. Nah, fata.
I think fucking Accrington Stanley, right? In the English Football League, right? I bet you they want to be like Real Madrid too. Thing is because they're playing in England, there's probably a greater chance of them becoming like Real Madrid than us. So fuck it.
Oh, so Zion has another comment, which is let's wait until the end of the transfer window to make an assessment. And as I said, you know what, I'm willing
3
to
weeks.
be
3 weeks. Hold on,
yeah.
3 weeks, gentlemen. There's not enough time to get players in for 3 weeks of training.
Not to gel with the team, man.
Well, not to start the season. No, there isn't. The transfer window closes 30th of August, so there's, as Ibra said, plenty of time. And Fonseca agreed with him, saying, "Oh, don't less haste." And I thought, okay, well, you're saying this, and this is my point again about Fonseca is, I think he was brought in for two reasons. One is financial. $2.5 million a year is a very cheap price.
And he's a fucking wages. Yes man.
And the other one's a yes man. He will not broke the boat. He will keep the process going as it was before. So I'm more than willing to wait until the transfer window is closed, Zion, and I'm more than willing. But I don't think I can see any way. Just tell me players that will come in and make us compete with Inter today, because there's none. There's none within a 20 million budget, which seems to be what everyone is saying is the sweet spot for this ownership. There's none.
Shout out! We have a viewer from Malaga. I won't say who it is, but it's nice to have you watching. All right, cool.
Yeah. So Nico, did you say that there was a press conference with Fonseca?
So Fonseca, yeah. So I'll pull it up.
Are we gonna get banned here, mate?
Are we going to get banned? What's happening?
I don't know, because he's like, he wants to play a bit. He wants to stream a bit of Fonseca's interview. I'm like,
Oh no! Not not again.
Are we going to get shafted again? I still remember the last time this happened. I'm like, I'm not sure this is going to work very well.
That's it. Unless if we put like that cat head filter on Forlani. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what he said post game. I didn't listen to anything. I don't know what could potentially be so interesting about what he said. I was just so happy that he put on young players. Happy to see the players actually passing the ball without fear, from the back, constantly from the back.
But imagine, like, I tell you, do you know what gets me really excited about this? If it works, right? And there's a big fucking huge fucking quotations with, before and after the if, right? So if it works, can you imagine the pressure that would be taken off Leao because the whole team is activated at once? Yeah.
But I mean, so that was the other thing I was questioning is, I know that these guys played in the Euros, they go quite far in the Euros, but they have to start training and integrating, because this is a different style to what they're used to, right? So we need to have Theo, we need to have Leao, we need to have Morata playing this style of football. I mean, Morata will be used to a passing style of football, but Leao and Theo, not so much. They're used to this kind of like lump it to the left side and hope.
They're used to kind of linking up on that left side of the pitch, right, with those little combinations. So it's going to be it's going to take time for them to acclimate to that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely will.
Just a quick question: do you guys, right, Do you think is there space for Adley in this anywhere?
I don't see it.
Off the bench, yes. Listen, if we don't get any signings, if we don't sign any
Oh yeah,
midfielders, we need Adley.
yeah.
Where's our depth coming from? Because if we don't sign for Fana or Kone or nobody else, no midfielders come in, or the other kid from what's the other guy that we were talking about from Syria, Sarmex? What's the kid? The guy
Samardzic.
Udinese, is it?
Yeah.
Udinese. So we haven't heard anything for a couple of days. So say if none of those fall through, just for argument's sake. So we're stuck with we still have Benny. We have to keep Benny. We have Tijani, lost his cheeks, Musa, and Adley. So we're going to go in with the same midfield as last season.
Nico, I can't believe that we won't sign a we're desperate for a CDM, man.
John, but the more time we take, you got to be willing to pay for a good CDM, John. Good CDMs cost money. You can't go there and say, "Oh, we need a CDM, but we're not off." Come on, pay the 25 mil and call it a day. We were supposed to have between a 90 and $100 million transfer budget this year.
Yeah, that was crap. When I read that, I thought that's crap. That's not true.
But they came out and said that publicly.
Yeah, well.
But we're at right now. How much we spent? We spent whatever we spent from Morata.
13.
13. That's our budget.
And we made 3 from Simic's sale.
So, come on, fellas.
This club as well, right? I think what's very concerning to me at this point as well is this club being, spreadsheet experts. I would assume that if they are serious about getting in new blood, that they would be trying more actively to shift, what they don't need. And I'm not seeing any examples of that other than I know, look, Simic is gone. That is very poor business on our part, to be honest. I agree with you. Chow should be out the door. But, in terms of, trimming off players that, don't have a future at the club, this doesn't seem to be happening. So if that's the case, this ownership are not stupid. They're not going to get someone unless they have someone lined up. And the fact that they have no one lined up, that basically means that they're kind of saying, we don't know who we're going to get. We don't know if we're going to get someone. And at a certain point, the club is a living organism, right? And a huge part of it is the playing staff. And no matter what kind of style of football that you have, right, we're lacking in so many areas, notably a CDM for me as well, a good backup striker, a right back that, shouldn't be playing mid-level fucking in the French league.
Or the EPL, like Emerson Royale.
Yeah, what's your view on him?
Come on, fellas, he's average. He's not even considered a top 5 right back in England, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, nice. I know.
Hold on, we got our first bot.
We've got a first bot. Yeah, that's an achievement. Let's celebrate, guys.
This is momentous. I am so glad.
Forza Redbird. Yes, did it.
Yes.
We've had a first bot, guys. We've made it.
God, screw yourself, weird Stin. All right. Oh my days. All right. Do you remember the old ones on the Milan Weekly Pod? Do you remember the old bots that used to come on? They were very suggestive. No.
Oh.
I was like, they were pretty charged. The bot posts. That was great. No.
So, do we know when we have our next game? We've got a game against Real, haven't we, coming up?
Real coming up, yeah.
God help us.
That's gonna be a test. I want to see, because for sure I don't think Real is gonna put out all their kids on the pitch for that.
Even if they did, they'd still walk it.
But we're gonna see Endrick. We're gonna see a couple more starters, I think. So it's gonna be more of a test of Fonseca style with Carlo.
So I see what you're queuing up here, Nick. All right, and what I'm a bit concerned about is what are the chances of us playing this and getting copyrighted again?
No, well, I want to play a quick clip
Okay.
I think I've learned a trick of this. I've done this before, and I haven't gotten copyrighted yet.
Yeah.
The last couple of times. I think if you're playing in spurts, if you just play it and stop,
It's
stop.
5 seconds. Yeah. I think it's anything over 5 seconds is the.
So this is Fonseca's post game interview yesterday. It's in Italian. So first things first, I expected being knowing English, we're promoting the club in the United States, trying to get more fans. Why don't you have something in English? That was my first idea. Because we talked about this last season, how the club wasn't putting enough English content out there. So let me play this up, and let's see what happens here. And I want to get your thoughts. It's 1:44. It's pretty quick.
Per volte abbiamo da migliorare il timing di fare le cose ed è per questo che io sono attivo per fare.
Okay, so what is he saying so far? What do you got? What are you understanding?
So I've got to say his Italian is not great.
Okay.
And it sounded like he said we have to improve the timing or something, but I couldn't catch it all.
Okay.
So carry on.
Il giocatore arrivare al momento giusto e in posizione giusta, ma
they have to arrive in the right moment, in the right position.
Che vogliamo. Stanno arrivando I giocatori.
That is what we want.
So you're talking about his Tinder dates?
Questi giocatori nel nostro possesso e continuare a imparare. Abbiamo tanto a migliorare difensivamente e offensivamente, che continuiamo a migliorare il nostro possesso e anche a integrare I giocatori che arrivano adesso.
Stop it for a minute. So he's basically said we want to improve the way that our players are in possession and the way we defend, the way we attack. It's literally a nothing comment, like nothing comment. Nick, I'm afraid to say there was nothing interesting in that.
I was expecting more.
I want to do my job that I am paid for. Okay.
Yeah, the players have to learn to pass the ball better, and I was just like,
That's how he was with when they introduced him too, with Ibra, if you remember.
I want to win games.
He was very vanilla.
Vanilla. That's the word. Very vanilla. Yeah, Shane. It was just like one of these things. Like, I have to speak to the press. I'm going to speak to the press and just talk some shit.
I want to manage this club. Okay, good man.
He might have said that.
Can I tell you something, man? If I had played for that coach, I'd really be motivated to win trophies with him.
Well, I think it's the mask of Zorro. I think that's, if that's his usual thing, I can see why people would want to get behind him, It just seems to be a vibe. Like
I honestly think that, and I'm just gonna one last thing I want to say before we go, because we've been going for almost an hour, right?
Yeah, we're there. Yeah.
One thing I want to say is,
Let's support Monza from now on.
Well, I know it sounded really controversial what I said there, right? But I'm not kidding you. I was like, in the middle of the summer, I was thinking, if this continues in the way it is, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be in trouble with how I support Milan. That's what I felt. But I'll say something really positive. If Fonseca truly does what everyone at the club is telling us he is going to do, which is utilize the youth squad and integrate them into the senior squad. If he truly does that, and we see this transformation in our club, I believe that we can all come back to a point where we will all support Milan equally. And there will be no more of this split of people believing the Redbird project versus people who see what's in front of their eyes, because seeing youth will actually excite me, and I will not need to win trophies to be happy, because that winning trophies is not what makes me a Milan fan, right? That originally, maybe that was, we're a super powerful club when I first joined. That's what made me excited about it. But right now, what I'm really hungry for is something to excite me for at this club. And the roster without the youth does not excite me. And I will just say it as it is. With the youth, I will look for something. And it's same for me for Italy. I need an injection of new talent, raw talent, someone that will do something that will get me off my chair. Yeah, not just Leao once or twice a season. You get what I'm saying? That's what I crave this Milan squad to do. If Fonseca does that and he's responsible for that, I will take my hat off to Ibra, Cardinale, whatever, and I will get behind the project. Okay. If, on the other hand, we sell more young players, we do not see these kids again in actual Serie A games, then they're going to have a problem with me and a lot of the fan base. That's my opinion. What do you think, Nico?
So I agree with you 100%. So my expectations. Well, first things first, if management, I'll never get behind management, regardless of what they're going to do, because they've lied. If they would have just came out from the beginning of this, during the summer and said, listen, going forward, we're not going to sign any players, big impactful players. We're going to inject the youth. We're going to go with this youth pro system. We're going to introduce the youth into the system, and we might lose it. We might not compete for the next 4 seasons, but we're going to try to integrate these new kids in. I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, fine, I know what to expect. But you come to me exactly like they did with Forlani, saying we want to win trophies, we want to, in Ibra too, we want to compete for Scudettos. That's where you lose me as a fan. However, for the sake of Fonseca, I want him to succeed. All right? And I do want to see players like Zaroli, Elote. I want to see this kid, Vittorio Magni. He's the right back on the U19 team. All right? I want to see Kamada. I want to see Liberali. If those kids play, Bartazagi too, if they're all full minutes this season and have a chance to start and to actually push the senior players, I'll be happy with that. But management, I'll never support them.
Fair enough.
They're two separate entities. And one last thing. Fulani said the other day, Milan is an American club now. That's where you lose me as well. They're not an American club. It's an Italian club. End of story. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. So, no, I agree with the both of you. I think so. Yeah. The management lost respect a long time ago. I think it kind of, really I think the whole Maldini saga kind of, put that to bed. Someone's an asshole, they're an asshole forever, right? You never listen to what someone says. You react to the things that they do, because that's always the truth. People can lie with words, but their actions they can't lie with. So unfortunately, yeah, it's that kind of vibe. For me though, I think one of the key parts that's kind of just crushing my passion is the fact that it's, we're Italians. We Milan historically, very Italian centric. We've lost that. And I know that kind of goes completely against what I said earlier, which was I do want Calabria gone, because I think that's more of a quality issue, unfortunately. But that being said, if it was a situation where, like you said, John, and like you echoed, Nico, if it was a situation where we had, kind of steady streams of, up and coming Italians coming through, that gave this, soul, like that gave this club some sort of a soul, and not some sort of illegitimate fucking plastic product that, Redbird are creating. If I seen that happening, I would, it would keep me engaged. But to be quite honest, I don't really. There's just too much. There's nothing positive going on that I can point to, that I can kind of say it's keeping me in the loop. And I see a way forward outside of some Futura project, and I hope that works out the way we want. But that being said, I don't know, maybe, yeah, so maybe more Italians, keeping us somewhat competitive as well, because I don't believe for once that we will ever come to anywhere near the the levels of Real Madrid or even of a team that can, you know, be expected to kind of try and compete for the Champions League. That's just not possible. It's just not. So try and keep us somewhere up there, but focus on a young Italian core. And then, you know, if, you know, Forza balance sheets, they do keep going in the right trajectory, you know, then we can start buying some established players and not, you know, has-beens and broken players from the French league. So,
yeah, I mean, I think I agree with the both of you on the point of being lied to. But one of the things I think we have to consider now is that Milan is being seen as a company. It's being seen as a product, right? So these guys are not. The sporting side is seen as a different. Like I love the fact that fans are wanting to say trophies are associated with making profit. That is the Real Madrid model. You know, apparently they've made $1 billion in revenues because of their ultimate success, and they can afford to smash every single transfer record out there. However, the current ownership doesn't have that leverage, and their interest is in getting a club that is showing the good books so that they can flip it. Because ultimately, when investors come in, this is what they do. They're putting in an amount of money and they want to make a profit prior to sale. I mean, I understand this really well, but I can tell you personally, this is how people see things this way. So I understand actually quite well the stuff that Cardinale is doing and the stuff that Furlani are saying. For us as football fans, it makes no sense, right? Because they're not truth, they're lies, yeah. But they're intended to simply get people to believe I want a part of that, I want a bit of that, and I'm gonna then potentially buy it in the future. You know, some of the stuff Furlani said about we've got good representation in the Emirates and in those states by saying that they've got an office in Dubai. Like, it means nothing, guys. It means absolutely nothing.
we have 50 million Milan fans in the United States.
That stuff. You see. So you kind of just delve a little bit into that. 50 million population of America is 340 million. The maths doesn't make sense. What, 1 in every 7 or so Americans supports Milan?
50 million potential fans. I think.
Yeah,
Potential for fuck's sake. All right.
You see what I mean? That's, to me, I separate that because I see that just as business speak. Yeah. On the football side is what we're interested in. And we're hoping that there's somewhere in the middle where these things will meet. And the way I want to kind of be positive about it is I think they might meet if at least a youth squad starts to come into it, because that's the best thing I can see for our club at the moment. Until we are sold, that is the best that we are going to see out of this project, out of these owners. There is nothing else that we will see out of this club. I genuinely don't. I don't think, like you've just said, guys, we're not going to go out and break the bank to buy players to win trophies. That's not our model. It is not what Milan is today. And as you said, Nico, we're not Italian. Like he has said, we're not Italian. We are an Italian club, of course. But the identity today, 2024, it is not about being Italian. It is about being a global brand and getting as many people to buy shirts as possible and buy merchandise to make profit. Profit is the ultimate objective of this ownership. So as a football fan, the youth project is where my footballing ambitions rely, because I don't feel that I'm going to get anything from any other part of this Milan project. I'm not interested in any other part of it, guys. I'm not interested at all. Yeah. So the youth project is the only thing that I'm holding on to and hoping that Fonseca will do more of what we saw yesterday. And that's, I think, is my kind of summary of what the last 2 years of Redbird ownership is, and realization has come to that trophies are not attached actually to financial success for these people, because they can't.
Completely separate. Honestly, it's not just attached. We are not in a situation continuing on this trajectory. We're not in a situation where we can expect sporting success. It's completely, forget about it. We can't have a new stadium. We can't have we can't have positive balance sheets.
Let's not go on the stadium bit.
Let's briefly talk about the stadium. So I read an article the other day. No, just since let's for the next 5 minutes. I don't want to get too much into it. So it's San Donato, right? That's the area that they're trying to build. Is it? There's supposedly a monastery there that's been there for God knows how long. No, I read it the other day. And that's one of the issues as well, that the people in that area don't want that monastery knocked down because it's got
turn it into a cafe. It's fine. So everywhere else in Europe does that.
We know Italy is a very heavy Catholic country. It's very religious. So
they're not going to build there. Yeah.
I don't see them knocking that down to build a stadium, for. Especially with the Red Devil logo of all things.
Definitely not.
So this is what I'm saying. So if that's their main objective, to build a stadium and promises, we're going to build a stadium, we're going to have concerts there and make billions of dollars of revenue on the stadium, yada, yada. Excellent. But I'm going to laugh if because Roma is planning on a new stadium as well. They put out they put out a promo video of a new stadium the other day. I will laugh my ass off to every pro Furlani, pro Jerry Redbird fan out there if Roma builds a stadium before we do. I will laugh. I won't even be upset at that point. I'm just going to be, I don't know.
But my opinion on that is that I always thought from day one that the stadium project was a smokescreen. I thought it was something to be done for investors to come in and acquire Milan. I honestly thought all they wanted to do was to get final approval to be able to build on the land and then say, this is part of the project. Here's our portfolio. You can now buy AC Milan, the sporting club, but AC Milan, the land to build a new stadium, and you've got all the permissions. It's like when you buy a house and you've already got the approvals to be able to extend the house to make it worth more. It's exactly the same in my mind. I never thought for 1 second that Redbird were going to hang around and actually build $1 billion stadium. No. Again, cynical. I'm a slightly older gentleman, and so I've seen too many things over the years, especially in Italian football, to think that this is genuine. But the problem I struggle with that is that if I can see through it, surely an investor that does due diligence can see through it too. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, I need to go. It was a real pleasure to see you. It's wonderful to see you. As I said, my life is coming back to kind of a level path again. So I'll be more than happy to join you again in the future. And Forza Milan, and let's hope we see the youth project again. Let's hope we see more youth players integrated. And honestly, let's get Husney in next time, man. Honestly, let's get
so sorry about this, Husney, man. It was spur of the moment, like the best things in life. All right, Forza Milan, guys. See you soon.
Forza Milan. All right.